everybody. It's Erica again, and I have a very special guest with me today, Joe Cline.
Hello.
Welcome, Joe. I
Hello.
feel a little bit weird welcoming you to your own studio here.
Oh, yeah. That is weird. But that's the hope of the studio.
That's the hope of the studio.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to talk to you about all that we're going to talk about today. Today's podcast, we are going to be talking about cracking the code in marketing. And I think this is something that every single real estate agent, broker, business owner will benefit from. I think all of us are trying to crack the code on marketing. What should we be doing? And you are an expert in this topic.
A little bit.
You are definitely an expert in this topic. You're humble, but let's introduce everybody to who you are. You are back in Fort Smith for good now. We're so excited.
Yes.
But tell me a little bit. I know that you are very well known in the YouTube community. I've educated myself on that. And then also you are the host of Arkansas Minds, which is how we first met, was through your podcast. So tell everybody a little bit about who you are and how long you've been doing this for.
Yes. So when I was very young, I guess it all started for me when the first iPhone came out, weirdly enough.
That's dating you a little bit.
I know, it's so weird. But yeah, the first iPhone came out, and I remember they did the keynote, the presentation showing the iPhone. And then from that point on, when I watched that YouTube, I think it was a YouTube live stream, I was just hooked on YouTube and tech and specifically. And so from that point on, I just started to try to buy tech and review it, fix it, learn it. I did a lot of that, created some businesses out of that. And then when I think I was about 12 is when like the term YouTuber started to kind of make its waves in the market. I guess in people's mouth, they thought of YouTube for the first time as a real job because people were now being paid real money. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I want to be a YouTuber. Yeah. And probably every other kid at that age who knew about YouTube probably thought the same thing. Like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber. They're traveling around the world. They're getting paid all this money for brand deals. And I was like, okay, I want to do that. And what maybe piqued my interest the most was the fact that they got to live the life that they wanted to live, not at the expense of anyone else, right? Yeah. So I grew up humbly, and like we didn't have a lot growing up. So all the tech that I wanted to get to review, I had to buy. And then I learned, okay, if you make a relationship and if you grow an audience, then these brands will work with you. And so that's basically my goal that I work towards. And I reached that goal around college, whenever I started doing my first brand deals. And yeah, kind of just started from there and grew my audience more and more and more until where I am today. I will say, I don't even know if I told you this before.
Oh, I'm ready, yeah.
Back whenever we first, like when me and Lauren got married in 2019, it kind of like consumed me in a very negative way. I was putting YouTube above my family. I was putting it above God. I was putting it above everything. YouTube and specifically, I mean, I would just say social media, but to be specific, YouTube and Instagram, just like day in, day out, creating content, growing that audience, go to work, come back home, and throughout the whole time I'm creating content. And so it had gotten to the point to where it was like an obsession. So I couldn't stop. I couldn't turn off the switch. So basically what I did is after like a heated conversation between me and Lauren about what I was doing, I decided to delete it all. So I had gotten to like 10K. I had just that week reached this first time I had gotten to 10K on Instagram. I had gotten monetized. A big deal. Yeah, especially for Arkansas, people don't realize that. Yeah. Like in Texas, when we lived there, a lot of people had, like 5,000 followers on Instagram was pretty normal for all my friend group. And they weren't even content creators. Right. They had like regular jobs. So for Arkansas, though, like 500, was like pretty normal around here. So like that's the difference. So I had gotten to 10K followers on Instagram, and I had gotten monetized on YouTube. I think I had gotten to about 2,000 subscribers. Yeah. And it took a very, very long time. I mean, maybe like 5 to 7 years to grow just that. So I deleted it all. Wow. Went like no social media for I think like 3 or 4 months. Got social media again. but still didn't post. And then it wasn't until maybe like a full year that I started back trying again. But
Wow.
it was cool because it allowed me to test out some of the methods that I thought, okay, I got here, but now let's see if how I got here I actually know, or if it was luck or not.
That's
so I had a chance
true.
to test that out. And yeah, some of that stuff actually did work because now I'm back at those numbers. A couple years later, me and Lauren got married 5 years ago. So in 4 years, basically I was able to make up that ground.
Wow.
That took me like 5 to 7 years before. So.
Wow. And I love that you shared that with us, because I think that is something that every business owner that's trying to grow their following, every agent, everyone that has social media and they know that we need it for marketing in a lot of different industries, or maybe you don't need it, but you think that would definitely help scale my business. But to hear you say, yes, all of that's true, but then you were also obedient to, okay, Lord, is this your best for me? Because I think that's a question that I've had several times, is it can consume you. And there are so many things that you have to put in place that are a boundary, I guess, for your family, for your business even, and for your relationship with the Lord, just to make sure that, okay, this isn't becoming my idol. This isn't becoming my everything. Because You're right. You're exactly right. And that's a good thing to talk about, I think, for everybody, to make sure that, hey, yes, this is important, but it's a tool.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be all consuming.
Mm-hmm. And I think the main thing with that is like people have to think about what's their goal. And I think that's so important. Now that I'm trying to turn this into a therapy session, but typically when I sit down and have a podcast, it is a therapy session.
Exactly.
But I think mainly what it is you have to figure out what's inside your own heart when you're wanting to grow an audience. And I know this doesn't sound like super like businessy, but like it's true, because in reality, even if it's not good or it is good, there may be other routes to get you to where you want to go much quicker. Good example. Why would someone want to be a YouTuber? I think the biggest reason why most people would say that is because of money. They think passive income, I get to make a lot of money. I get to work and do my own schedule. Well, realistically, for someone to grow a YouTube audience where you can get to that goal, because that is a goal that you can actually obtain, it's going to take years. Years of content. You're going to be posting videos where you get 0 views for a very, very, very long time. It's going to be very discouraging. You're going to be putting a lot of money into it with your time, and even like actual money. Like I had to buy thousands and thousands of dollars of camera gear to review before a brand sent it to me for free. It took a very long time. And so there are a lot of, if you take into consideration those things before you try to start and make a lot of passive income, then now you can think, okay, well, what other options in the world are there for me to actually make passive income? Real estate's a really good one. And you're actually going to be able to get a return on your investment way sooner than you would with like YouTube or growing an Instagram. I mean, that's just one that I could think of because, you do real estate.
Exactly.
But real estate is definitely one like where you would get a faster return on your investment over aiming to be like an Instagram model or YouTube.
Right.
And so you got to figure out what those things are in your own heart. Another thing may be, another big one, either a top two, is fame. Like people want the fame associated with it. They want to be known. They want to be seen when they go somewhere. And that's a real thing. I experience that quite often. And I've wrestled with that even to this day. If I walk into a room or even like a store and I see like, okay, this person, there's a lot of people in here who look like they'll be like someone who's watched my videos today, my target audience. Like I'm like, okay, I'm about to be noticed or recognized. And I have to be okay with that not happening, but also I just have to wrestle with those thoughts of, okay, why am I even thinking that? Like that's so stupid and silly. Oh, it's because I wanted to be famous. That's why I wanted to do YouTube. And so like realizing those things as well. Again, there are other methods to become famous if that's what you want.
If that's what
that'll
you want.
Get you way there way quicker. But posting 100 videos a year on YouTube probably isn't going to get you there as quick as some other ways that you could do it.
Yeah. I love when you are vulnerable, because I just feel like that's one of my favorite things about you, just getting to know you as a friend, is you're extremely transparent and we can have those conversations and be real. And, I think especially at my age and for a lot of to shift it to real estate agents. I think that's been kind of a turn off for agents is they don't want to even delve into that kind of marketing, social media of any kind, YouTube, any of these newer methods of marketing because they don't want the perception of everybody local thinking that they want that fame or they want that. And first of all, I think the judgment of that is that fame is a negative thing. I have family that have fame and it is what you make of it. I mean, it's a means to an end. There are, yes, you get paid, but also it's a cool way to really make a great impact on people. And I've watched that. I've watched people like you and my brother and other people that have that spotlight. There's a reason for that. And there's a really awesome, positive way that they can use it. It is like a currency almost. So I think you're exactly right. Examine your motives. There's also, in my opinion, from what I've seen, and I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur. So in real estate now for my brokerage, I've seen major success in utilizing social media for brand awareness.
Yes.
And also just to scale my business and to also share because I've seen that success with individual agents and letting them know, hey, this is a great way to stay top of mind. Top of mind is kind of the phrase that we use in the real estate world. So if you see a billboard, then you see an agent on social media, then you see them in person. It's just, oh yeah, they're in real estate. That's who I want to use, And so let's talk about in 2025, what are you seeing in the marketing world, right? The trends that are happening. What I know that you and I are on different platforms and we laugh about that because I love TikTok
all the time.
And I'm a little embarrassed that I love TikTok. I do. But probably locally, the most successful one that I've seen is Facebook just because most people live there. But give me kind of your projections on 2025 trends.
I want to go back just a little bit. And this is like more so speaking to the Arkansas people who are right here, because I feel like a lot of them are actually humble, meek people. Like you find that majority of the population, especially where we are, Van Buren, Fort Smith, you find that a lot of people are humble, like not fake humble, but actually humble. They are meek. Like seriously, I really do mean that. I've been surprised and shocked moving here. And even I think about it that from a financial standpoint, like meeting some of the people that I've met and knowing and literally going and Google searching because they're Googleable. Going and Google searching their net worths. I'm like, it doesn't make sense.
Known.
Like you look at them, they drive away in a normal car, they're living a normal life, they're walking in, and I know this sounds a little bit ridiculous, but some of these people make enough money to where they probably should have security. They don't have security, right? So these are actual humble people. If I would have met these people in Dallas, different story.
Yeah,
because those people in Dallas actually have security. They actually want you to know that they make that much money. And you can tell. So all that to say, I think a big struggle, especially with agents or entrepreneurs of all sorts here, is going to be showing up online. A lot of them are going to shy away from that because they are humble. They don't want people to look at them. They're not trying to bring attention to themselves, whether they have money or not.
Right.
It's just like the way people feel around here. So I think there's two things to say to that. One, you have to realize that there's a difference between being prideful and knowing your worth.
Good. Yeah.
Right? Like everyone has abilities and skill sets that other people don't have, and that some people do have, right? We all share some of that. But I think there's a big difference in going online and saying, look at me, I'm the expert. You should do everything I say because I know it all. And just going online saying, hey, look, this is my life that I've lived. Let me share some things to help you get to where I am now much quicker than I did. That's good, so different. But those are two different people who walk into the room. You can recognize them when you see them. So I think getting around the fact of, oh, who do you think you are? I think that's the question, right? Who do I think I am to go make these videos on Instagram? Who do I think I am to be the face of this company? No way. I find this a lot with men. Like, honestly, guys just like your dad. Like, they'll say, no, I don't want to make a video about my business. And it's not because they don't want to get more business or that they don't actually want to do marketing. It's because they don't want their face to be up there because they don't want people to see or think like they think a lot of themselves. It's not about that at all. And I think that's super important for agents. Going into marketing trends, answering your question now.
Yeah.
Going into marketing trends for 2025, I think the most important thing, hear me out on this.
Yeah, I'm ready.
It sounds weird.
Yeah.
Is you have to figure out how to be the purple cow. This is so
Joe
weird.
just told a woman in her 40. Oh, no, I'm not 40 yet. Why do I keep trying to say him? Joe just told a woman that's 38 that I have to be a purple cow. I'm going to listen out.
Okay, so this isn't from me.
Yeah.
This is something else that someone else got, but I've held on to it. So imagine you're driving down where you live in your town. I'm not going to say, but where you live, imagine you're driving down the street. If you see a cow, are you going to look twice?
No, because there's a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah. If you see another cow, if you see that cow, regular cow, are you going to share it to your friends? Are you going to take a picture and share that cow to your friends?
I'm not.
What if you were driving and you saw a purple cow?
I'm going to look for sure. I'm going to be like, what in the world?
Are you going to stop and be
I'm going to stop.
And be like, what in the world?
I'm going to show, yeah.
You have to be the purple cow in marketing. So there are a lot of realtors everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Everywhere, every town, because it's a necessity, right? So it's a good market to be in. It's a good job.
Saturated.
But you have to figure out how to stand out.
That's good.
And so I think right now, the problem for most people is just figuring out how to stand out.
Yeah.
And so if you can figure out how to differentiate yourself from others around you, how to set yourself aside, then I think that you will get people to look at you. And in return, I think my thing is all publicity is good publicity, like whether it's good or bad. So figuring that out. And if people hate it, if people like it, and we've seen this a lot on TikTok, actually.
Yeah,
right. You've seen people just doing stupid stuff, getting grilled in the comments, and they don't care because if you look at their page, you go back and you refresh a week later. Oh my gosh, they got 200,000 more followers. What? Okay, you go back again, 50,000 more. Doesn't matter. People are still going to follow them, even if they hate them. They have eyes on them, and then all of a sudden they're on the news. Most hated TikTok or whatever it is.
I know.
And then it actually works. So figuring out how to set yourself aside. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this because I'm sure that's your next question. How do you do this?
Yes, please.
So for me, what I've done that's been successful for me is I have people in content that I like to consume myself. And majority of the time, those people, luckily, because we're in Arkansas, and this is probably going to be for everyone who's watching this in Arkansas, majority of the time, those people aren't in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Therefore, I can take what they're doing, the people that I watch, and it's called copying with taste, right? So I'm going to just duplicate some of these things. It's like a big old, bowl.
Yeah.
Like imagine you're putting different cereals in a bowl to make it better. So I'll pour this thing in there. I'll pour this thing in. Okay, now how can I make this personalized to me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to pour this in there. Stir it all together, and now you're looking much different than everyone else around you in your town. And some people in the comments online are going to say, oh, this looks a lot like this person. This looks a lot like this person. Doesn't matter. They're watching. If they keep commenting, they're watching, they like what they're doing. And eventually those comments will fade away or they'll get stronger.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Shouldn't be in the comment section anyways because it's a dangerous place. But
that is true. I love that you say copying with taste because, one of the things that I think I struggle with, my personality, is it's important to me to be original. And I think, but what's funny about that is, when you step back from that, oh, I want to be original, there are not very many completely original ideas. We have been, we have consumed, we don't even realize that we're copying sometimes, and we are.
Yes.
And I've said, because when we started Heritage Group, I really took pride in the branding portion of it. And, you grow and you get better at knowing what exactly you want for your brand. But then you start to notice, oh, this person is kind of looking like me. And I remember having that thought for one moment, and I'm like, Erica, your brand is black and white. Okay, they're good. It's not very original, There are elements, but that's the greatest form of flattery. If you get to that point where somebody thinks you had a good idea, that's a positive thing.
Yeah, you definitely want to get to a place where you're the one that people are copying.
Exactly.
Like if you can get there, then you have something special.
Right.
And people, if someone sees something special, they want it. And they're going to figure out how to get it. Yep. And if it's an idea, then they're definitely going to copy it. You don't want to be the other side.
Exactly.
All the time. Because then honestly, I feel like that's not successful.
I agree.
Even if you do get a lot of followers, like there are people that I watch and I know that they copied someone else and they've grown their following, they're growing their work, but I still don't want to follow them because I'd rather have the original, the person that they copied.
There's an element of it feels a little like stealing someone, when you get to that to that part. Well, I do agree with you. I think that looking into 2025, another element is AI. And you and I have this conversation often, just talking about kind of how we utilize AI. How do we, if you were, okay, first of all, let's back up, because that is an element that's huge, and we utilize that in pretty much every part of our lives now. But if you were a real estate agent, if Joe Cline was going to be a real estate agent tomorrow, which I still think you'd be a really good real estate agent.
Oh my gosh.
But if you were going to be, what platforms would you spend the most energy on?
Well, to answer that question, it would depend on where I'm at. But let's say Arkansas, obviously. Yeah. And I've just learned that Facebook in Arkansas, in Fort Smith, in Van Buren, I mean, honestly, all over Arkansas, because I've been all around Arkansas. Yep. Facebook is like no other platform everywhere else. Like Facebook is crazy here. People only have Facebook most of the time. Like older people only have Facebook. Yeah. In other places, it's like not that. Like in Dallas, it's definitely not that. Or at least it wasn't for me and my friends. Like it was TikTok, for sure TikTok. And then before TikTok, it was Instagram and Snapchat. But for some reason here, Facebook is just like that's where people are. Yeah. That's where I get the most engagement is on Facebook. Instagram is dead. TikTok gets engagement, but it's not from here. It's from other parts of the state. No, it's from other parts of the United States, obviously. Okay, so if I'm an agent, I'm probably going to be focusing more on 3. It's so hard.
I know.
How many do I have to pick?
Listen,
give me 2. Give me.
Okay. I mean, if you had to put most of your energy into 2, which I think is a little bit easier for most agents. So, which one would it be?
Okay, so if I am going to be putting my energy into 2 different platforms as an agent, and let's say I'm in it for the long haul, like I'm not looking to make quick money and then get out when my kids graduate or whatever. Yeah. So I'm in it forever. Well, then I'm going to choose Facebook here and YouTube. Yeah. The reason why I would choose Facebook is because we already just talked about it. Facebook is so big here, but YouTube gives you long-term growth unlike any other platform, and it rewards you way better. So you can build a community on YouTube that's not local, right? Yeah. So Facebook is your local community, and then you can, build abroad as well on Facebook. But with YouTube, majority of the time, those views pop up on people's For You pages and things like that. Those people are going to be from all different parts of the state. Yep. And so if you can make yourself a name for yourself in industry on YouTube, and then that grows over time, maybe like the first year, you only have like 30 subscribers. Yeah. Maybe the second year you only get 100, right? But eventually, if you do that for a long, long time, what's cool about YouTube is it doesn't stay that way. It multiplies significantly. And like for me, this is a good example. Last year, I was working really, really hard to get to like 6K subscribers. And I had gotten to like 3. And then I had worked, majority of the year, half of the year, actually 8 months of the year I had worked, and I had gotten another 1,000. So from that point, in the last couple of months in that year, I had some content do really, really well and blow up, and some podcasts that I was producing for other people beginning to post behind the scenes. Well, I went from 6. Again, it took me 5 years to get to 6,000. And then after that, I went to 15 in just 2 months. Wow. So 6,000 to 15,000 subscribers in just literally 2 months. Yeah. All organic. I didn't post more content. I posted less content, actually, because I was like, what do these people want? Like, I don't know what they want now. Right. I have a bigger audience. I have double my audience than I had before. So I think people have to think like that. Like, YouTube is long-term growth. Yeah. And then even financially, if you're someone who does want to reap benefits from social media, kind of like an influencer would, like YouTube pays the most. And so even though I haven't posted in I don't know how long, every now and then I'll get like a $500 check. I'll get a $1,000 check. I'll get $1,500 check. I'll get and honestly at this point now, it pretty much is always above 500, and then it just goes up from there. And that's just like that's actual passive income. Whether I post a video or not, this is from videos that other people are consuming of my library from years and years ago that I posted. I'm still getting paid for all that content. So like on a personal side, like that's something that you could do to build your personal brand. Is I would brand it your personal brand, right? Like even if you are like yourself, like if you're
an agent, if you're a real estate agent, or you, I know,
or you're at like at the head of a broker, right? Like I wouldn't brand it as I would do this as your name, because your name and those followers are going to follow you now because they like you, and they're really looking to build a relationship with a person, not necessarily a brand all the time.
I love that you said that, because I'm just going to also say this to our audience. So at the Heritage Group, that is what makes us a little bit different, is when you walk into Heritage Group and we sit down. I do branding meetings with all of our agents, since I handle most of the marketing. So one of the things I tell and encourage agents is definitely spend the time. Let's talk about your personal brand, because to be successful in real estate long term, I really do believe, and especially in marketing, people need to know who you are, what makes you different as a real estate agent. What are you bringing to the table that nobody else is bringing to the table? And so at Heritage Group, we really, that's something I'm very passionate about, is to make the individual agent successful. And I do think in marketing, what you're talking about making sure to take time to create a personal brand, that's the best way to do that. Now, with the brokerage, the way that I've, and Justina and I have created the brand is really as kind of a platform or a support to the brand that they already have. Because as real estate agents, they technically have their own business. They are subcontractors. And so the best thing I can do as a brokerage is really just be a concierge to them so that they can grow their personal brand. So that's something that I really try to make sure that the agents know, hey, whether you're here at Heritage Group or someone else, your name is your brand. And you can monetize that, not just on social media, but even if you move to a different state, if people already recognize your name, that's huge. I will say with social media, I really believe that it is the easiest, cheapest way to market yourself.
Yes, for sure.
I will tell you, if you are a new real estate agent, or you have thought about, okay, I want to set a budget, and I would encourage everybody, set a budget for marketing, whether you own your own business, whether you're a real estate agent or you're a brokerage, set a budget and really think about how far can this go, and nothing against, the back whenever I was a little younger in business, radio ads were huge. And you might be a little too young to know this.
First of all, you gotta stop saying you're older, because you're not to me. Like we're like the same to me in my head. I feel like we're like the same age.
We totally are. We are the same age. Yeah. Just so everybody knows, we're the same age. So
stop saying you're older. Oh my gosh.
We're not the same age. But back in the day, radio ads, and do you want to know how much they were?
They were like, weren't they like, I don't know. I'm just gonna say $400.
No,
really.
To get on the radio, when I had a fitness company, we're talking about, it was a campaign that you would buy, and it was thousands of dollars.
Wow. Okay.
I'm talking $3,000 to $5,000.
Okay.
And now you could get little spots, but to really be consistent, it was in the thousands. A billboard at this point, and I do like billboards, they're anywhere between, your digital ones start at like 300, and the ones that are there all year, and that's per month. And then the ones that are there all year are going to be $800 to $1,000 a month. So if you think about it in that way, it really makes you understand, wow, social media. Now, I will say this, I've never bought a follower. And the reason I don't love buying followers for real estate is you really don't, you need to be growing organically so that your audience are people that are actually going to be clients.
Yeah, for sure.
What are your thoughts on that?
No, I've done it. So I've with YouTube a while ago, years ago, I tested all of this out. So
yeah,
I
I'm
did.
curious.
I had multiple different accounts where I bought followers. I acquired others creators' accounts. Yeah, so I would say that none of it really turned out well. And to be even more specific, because there may be people who are interested in that right now. Basically, the way you can buy followers is you can literally go to websites and buy bots, and they will follow you, and they're gonna say they're real. I can promise you, I've tested it. Even this year, I've looked into it. I haven't done it recently, finding followers, and I would tell you if I did.
Oh yeah,
I really don't.
I'm
mind.
pretty transparent as well.
Yeah, but none of them are real.
Yeah.
I've done my research. None of them are actually real followers. So that being said, what will happen is if you buy followers, or if there's a way where they can actually get you real followers, which there isn't, if they're not your target audience, they're going to unfollow you.
Yeah.
So let's go to the second option. I've done this a lot. So I went to other brands, other creators, and say, hey, I'm going to offer you a lump sum of money to buy your account because you're in my target audience, and I will just rebrand the account under, whatever brand I did.
Yeah.
I've done it a bunch of times. I've done it with a coffee brand in Little Rock. I've done that with 3 of my own brands. And even that, it seems good for a while.
Yeah.
Like for the first 2 to 3 years, it was okay. But if you look at your analytics, I have hundreds of people I'm following every day.
Wow. Yeah.
It just now stabilized this year. So my account that I have now, I think it's at like 12,000 followers. When I bought that account, I think it was at 24,000 followers. So it went down significantly. Yeah. When I say buy an account, this was a real creator's account. Like they did tech reviews. Like it was me, basically. I just bought it from them. And so I really recommend that you build your own audience because like with YouTube, that number keeps going up. Never bought on there, never did anything. So that number always goes up. Really doesn't go down for unfollowing or unsubscribing because people are subscribing because of me. And the people who were there before are the same people, is the same account when I was there now, if that makes sense. So it never switched hands. So I think don't buy. Don't buy. There's only one time where I would buy, and that's if you think you really have what it takes to make money, like immediately out the gate. Yeah. So then you want to get the amount of followers that you need, which is 1,000 on YouTube. Yeah. To day one be monetized.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the only time I've done it because I really didn't care if those unfollowed. I just wanted my account to be monetized so that all the podcasts and all the videos that I'm making I would make money from them going forward. Because that did happen to me last year, unfortunately. Before my YouTube channel got monetized, one of my YouTube channels, I had a video do well over 500,000 views.
That's awesome.
Well over 500,000 views. If that channel would have been monetized, I would have made literally minimum $50,000.
Oh my god!
Off that one video, $50,000 off that one video.
I don't know if anybody else is as shocked as me, knowing how much you make off of YouTube.
Yes.
Because just back to the title of cracking the code. So I always say 70, but it's not. It's $90,000. I wish 90,000 followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's trying to get to that place where it's, you have a ton of followers. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're making money. Just so everyone knows, to crack the code for you, it does not. Now, there are things that they will send me. There are things like that. There are benefits, right? But it's nothing like a regular business, a job. You see people like that and then you're like, oh, they don't even have to work. That is definitely not true. Just so you know, absolutely think about, like Joe is saying, whenever you're thinking about a platform that you're spending a lot of your energy in, make sure that actually is going to pay off in the end, because you will be spinning your wheels, spending a lot of time, investment in something that at the end of the day is just for fun. I honestly look at my creative on my own accounts as fun. I enjoy creating videos of my kids. It's kind of like almost like a timeline, time capsule that I can look back on. And I enjoy that. And then a couple of my videos went viral, a lot like what you're describing. And then all of a sudden I have all these people.
Yes.
And then you're going, what do I do now? Because I really don't enjoy consistent content of my having to do this all the time. I don't enjoy it as a job full time. But anyway, take into account that not every single follower that on every single platform is going to mean that you are making a lot of money. So I love your perspective on that and sharing that.
This is one thing I know we had on the list that we want to talk about, so I feel like it's a good transition. Is talking about how you can make your work life, you can use your work life as leverage to achieve some of your personal goals.
Yep.
And so with even social media, whether you're, and this is a really good place for an agent. Like you really have to think about it as your online identity. It's like your driver license online, right? Your social media accounts. So they need to reflect you. They really do need to reflect you. So this is a really good example. Is if you're building this personal brand, which as a realtor you should be, or if you're a business owner, you should be building these personal brands, whether it's on LinkedIn too. LinkedIn, we haven't talked about that.
I know.
If you only do LinkedIn, that's completely okay.
Yep.
Like you have options, you know. So when you do those things, you have to, it's really good to set goals of what you want your outcomes to be.
Good.
So for me, really, when I first started and when I kind of, when I first started, it was just fame and money. No goals.
Yeah.
No parameters at all.
Well, I mean, in your defense, you were 9.
Yeah, I was young. And so then when I deleted it and restarted it, I was like, okay, I really, really just like reviewing new gear. I really like technology.
Yeah.
So if I can figure out how to offset some of that cost on my personal side, if I can make some money, if I can either make some money to buy the gear that I want to check out daily, or if I can build a relationship with the brands to give me that gear for free, that's also a win. So this reminds me a lot about like something I have going on right now. I'm new to working with banks, and so I have a person in the community who's been basically like an older person who's been helping me build that relationship with the banks. And it's the same thing with businesses and brands. That's what I've learned. You do not have to have a lot of followers. You do not have to have a lot of money. A lot of things that I'm learning with building a relationship with a bank, it's not that you have to have this even perfect mint credit score.
Right.
You don't have to have like thousands of dollars in the bank for them to work with you and give you the money that you need to make your dreams come true, whatever business, personal goal that you have. It's the same exact way we're working with brands. So when I only had 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and like 2,000 followers on Instagram on one of my accounts, I only had 2,000 followers. I was making brand deals through those accounts because I built their relationships with brands. Brand deals in the sense of where they were sending me the stuff for free. Good example now, fast forward to today, and this is what I call like success from that side of like the hobbies that I was doing. Like a lot of the stuff that we have in the studio was given for free from brands.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these lights, it was like thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I was able to make those brand deals and build those relationships where, they gave me those pieces of gear just to do videos. I have some more gear coming in to where the brands are like, listen, we want to do this because we believe in you and we want to support you. But like, don't mention that, this is a brand deal. This is a paid partnership. Yeah. We just want to give you this. And please make a video on it to review it so others can buy it. Yeah. But don't mention our relationship with it. Yeah. So like you build these relationships that really last a long time. For now, unless that person that I'm talking to and I have a relationship, unless they leave the company, I now forever have a relationship with that brand that I can use and leverage on my personal side that I built with my business.
Absolutely, yeah.
That makes sense.
It does, and that goes back to what we talked about in some of our previous episodes was just relationships. It's all about relationships, how you treat people, and sometimes you do things, and you've done this, Joe. This is one of the things, I'm going to brag on you for a second, but one of the things I love about you is you genuinely have a heart for people and for businesses. And one of our first conversations getting to know each other, you just showed up at the office. That's how I met you. You just showed up and you're like, hey, I'm Joe Cline. I'm from Arkansas Mines. What do you think about coming on the podcast? And I had seen your podcast and I loved following it and seeing it. And I was kind of more of instead of a loyal subscriber, I was more of a, who is this? That's where I was. But it was so cool. It was kind of like what we talked about earlier. I had saw that on your social media. Then you walk through the door. So you've stayed top of mind. And then we became friends. But the thing that stood out to me when we talked about it is you said, I can make a lot of money. I know how to make money. And obviously do, since you've been since 9 years old making money, doing what you do and doing it well. But you what drives you is being able to come alongside brands and people who are going somewhere and they want to get there and they don't know how to get there. And you want to come in and you want to solve the problem. And I just think that is so cool. And that's one of the reasons you're in my prayers of gratitude. Like, thank you, Lord, for sending Joe, because I've learned more from you about marketing and just content in the last couple weeks than I have in years. So thank you for that.
But thank you for saying that.
And let's see, where are we at? We're getting close. So one more thing, I want to talk about kind of what you're doing, because I feel like we've barely touched. We got to do another episode, obviously.
Yeah.
Actually, if there are certain things that you would like to hear about marketing, things you would like to learn from Joe, because he is a wealth of knowledge, let us know, and we will do some more content like this. Part two.
Yeah.
And I think I hear our next guest coming in. But please tell everyone kind of a little sneak peek on what you've got going on and how they can find you.
Okay. Yes. You can Google search me. I just say that
Google.
now.
Honestly,
just Google me.
When I Googled you, because you told me this, and I was like, and then I Googled you, and you were everywhere.
I just tell people Google, because it's Joe Cline everywhere, basically. That's one of the things I did when I was talking about acquiring accounts. I went and because I bought my name. I have my name on every account. Like if you go to Instagram, it's at Joe Cline. I had to buy that from someone. I had to track them down.
Though.
Anyways, that's a whole nother story. I have to tell you about that. But so it's just Joe Cline. And with the studio, I actually called this place Studio B because it's my second kind of go around of having a studio here in Fort Smith. So instead of doing like Studio 2, I was like Studio B. And so right now, I guess my goals for it is to be able to build relationships with individuals who run businesses and have a place to create high quality content around town. Because there really isn't like a dedicated space to social media content, to building your brand online. Like there's not a place to do that. There are people who do video at a high production, but not for social media really. They focus more on commercials, things like that. So that's the goal with this space. And then also creating my own content. So like right behind me, we have a Arkansas Mind Studio, which I've named The Natural State.
Love it.
This one is called,
awesome.
This is the ballroom.
This is the ballroom, which absolutely cracks me up. But I like it.
Because I know we're closing, but I think it's so funny. The reason why I call it the ballroom is because I should have called it the castle. Because when I went to go meet you the first time, I told my wife, and I don't mean this in the
I know.
I was like, I'm going to see the princesses in their castle. I'm going to go see if I can meet someone.
First person that's ever called me a princess. I'll take it.
So every time I go over there, I just say, I'm going to the castle.
That's awesome.
She knows where I'm talking about.
I've got to come up with a nickname for the studio since we're just minutes away so that I can do
It'd be funny. But that's where you can find me. That's what I'm doing.
Awesome.
If you're looking for content, Arkansas Minds, you can follow on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify, and I think it's on Apple as well. And just Joe Cline everywhere.
You want to get to know this guy, I'm telling you right now. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for everything. Thank you for being so transparent and willing to share information and give value to everyone around you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We are going to film another podcast very soon with Joe if he'll do a part 2 with me, but thank you for watching.